صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة، ويا باب نجاة الأمة، ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا، ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا، إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. Inspire your hearts, your minds and your sessions with a loud salawat for Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. If we search history with unbiased lens, with an objective lens, we will find, undoubtedly we will find, that the household of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, and his loyal wife, Sayyida Fatima Zahra, by far is the most successful household in the history of mankind. Specifically when it comes to raising children. How did Sayyida Fatima alayhi salam raise her children? What did she do? This is a challenge that we all face. Many of you are parents here, and all of you are going to be parents soon. Fathers and mothers. How do we follow her example? Why she was successful in raising 4 heroes, 4 leaders. Oftentimes we mention the boys and we forget about the girls. We mention Imam Hassan and Hussein alayhim as-salam because they are infallible, of course. But at the same time we have to mention the other 2 girls, Zainab and Kulthum. They are also heroes and leaders, not just for women. They are a role model for men too. What did she do? Did she have plenty of servants and maids helping her out? Did she have a lot of money? Their life was very simple, very humble. They had only 1 bedroom. And that bedroom was built by the Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salam. They were the engineers, the architect, and the builders too. The house is very small, very humble, with basic, very, very basic furniture. But they had the will, and they had the faith. And therefore, I chose this subject. I know many of you are not parents yet, but you will. You will be parents, inshallah ta'ala. And you have to prepare yourself psychologically ahead of time, to be good fathers and good mothers. There is no greater feeling in this life than seeing your kids successful and accomplished. When you see them on the right path. A father was telling me the other day that say it. Do you believe it? It is my children who wake me up for Salatul Fajr, not vice versa. And I am so happy and thrilled, and I am thankful to God. Usually the parents, they go, they knock at the door. He says, no, it's the opposite. My children, they come and they say, it's time for Fajr, wake up. But it's very challenging, extremely challenging. It's not easy. But at the same time, it's very rewarding. Raising children was the main concern of all universal leaders, apostles, prophets, beginning with Ibrahim alayhi salam. رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي. Not just me. I want my offspring, my children, to establish prayers. Establishing prayers summons the entire teachings of faith. When he says they establish prayers, he means they practice the entire faith. وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِي. Zakaria alayhi salam says, رَبِّ هَبْ لِي مِن لَدُنْكَ ذُرِّيَّةً طَيِّبَةً إِنَّكَ سَمِيعُ الدُّعَاء. This is the aspiration of all apostles and leaders. They need good kids. We're asking for good kids. And this should be our prayers too. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, the biggest joy on the Day of Judgment is not when they tell you you're going to go to paradise. Is when they tell you, you and your kids, your family are joining you. Not just yourself. They don't separate you from your family, from your kids. They don't go into different directions. They go into one direction. وَأَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ. They go to the right, all of them, the entire family. And this is what we have to do. This is what we have to work for. This is our biggest responsibility. Especially in this country. Many people are telling me, Sayyid, we are contemplating on leaving this country, going to the Middle East, going somewhere else where we can safely raise our kids. But today, wherever you go, you are not immune from the ills of the social media, the ills of the society. The solution is not to change your place. The solution is to be more aware and more responsible. To commit yourself to protect your family. Commitment. When parents have commitment, you can raise them anywhere. You don't have to change your home, your neighborhood, your country. It all depends on your will as a father, as a mother. And therefore, there are a few steps. I've chosen almost 3 of them tonight to share them with you. Step number 1 in building healthy, strong, productive family is for you as a father, as a mother, to be a role model for them, to be an example. And this is a theory in the Quran. The theory, Quranic theory says, وَالْبَلَدُ الطَّيِّبُ يَخْرُجُ نَبَاتُهُ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ. The safe environment, the beautiful household, the beautiful parents are going to produce beautiful children, good children. بَلَدُ الطَّيِّب, the environment. Kids, they emulate you. Child psychologists, they say that children, when they are young and when they are evolving and developing, they develop in many ways, but mostly by looking and monitoring their parents. They emulate their parents. They are like sponges that absorbs everything around it. They watch you. Your kids, they watch you. They are smart. They are intelligent. They see what the father does, what the mother says. They see that. They watch you. They follow you. They are a replica of their parents. So be careful in what you say at home. Watch out. They look at your behavior. It's hypocritical of the father to ask his son to be honest while he's not honest. And it doesn't work, believe me. You cannot change your kids by lecturing them. Only lecturing them does not work. You have to walk the walk and talk the talk. You have to be an example. It's very hypocritical of the mother if she asks her daughter to speak the truth while she herself does not speak the truth. Sometimes I get surprised. I get surprised when some mothers come to me and she says, I'm very worried about the screen time of my kids. But I look at her, she's addicted to social media. She's addicted to screen time more than her kids. Definitely your kids are not going to listen. You have to be an example. Put the phone away. Put this smartphone, this gadget away. There is a survey that came up the other day. It says, as a result of being addicted to social media and addicted to these gadgets and smartphones, by the year 2060 and in 2100, which is less than 40 years from now, we will see a spike in Alzheimer and dementia. Because now, the Z generation, Generation Z, Generation Alpha, are addicted to these gadgets. Even if you ask them to calculate 2 by 2, they use their iPhone, the calculator. They don't use their brain. And when you don't activate your brain, the most precious gift that God has given you, what will happen to it? It will jam. It would not work. You are not taking care of. This is not smart. Even IA is not smart. It's not very smart. Do not be dependent on them. Once in a while, it's useful. But you have to use your intelligence, your brain. Your brain. One day, you've heard this story, but it's okay if I repeat it. A mother comes to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She says, Ya Rasulullah, please, can you talk to my son? He's sick because he eats too much sweet at home. Tell him he loves you, he listens to you. The Prophet said, yes, but not today, tomorrow. So she left. She came the following day. She brought him to the Prophet. Young boy, the Prophet said to him, son, don't eat sweet. He said, of course, Ya Rasulullah. I would never eat sweet anymore. So the mother said to the Prophet, O Messenger of God, was it difficult for you to say this yesterday? He said, yes. Because yesterday I had eaten a sweet myself. The sweet was in my stomach. So I could not tell him not to eat. لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Again, this is a theory in the Quran. When you smoke, and then you tell your son not to smoke, he's not going to listen. It's not going to work. When someone steals, and then he lectures his family not to steal, not to lie, not to cheat, it's not going to work. يا أيها الرجل المعلم غيره هلا لنفسك كان ذا التعليم تصف الدواء وأنت أولى بالدواء وتعالج المرضى وأنت سقيم. A physician who prescribes medication for his patients while he himself, he needs medication himself more than them. He needs to fix his body first. So be a role model. Be an example. Then you don't have to lecture, believe me. You don't have to sit in front of your kids and give them a moral lecture every now and then. They're going to watch you and follow you. الزهراء السيدة الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها succeeded in raising her kids because she was a role model. Her husband was a role model. She would stand in the middle of the night for tahajjud, communion with her Lord. And then she would awaken her kids. Imam Hassan says, I see my mother performing Salatul Layl tahajjud, and in her supplication, when she raises her hand, she prays for the neighbors, but she does not mention herself. So I said to her, mother, why do you forget yourself? You mention this family and this household and this individual and this person and this man and this, but you don't mention yourself. She says to me one short sentence, Bunay, al-jar qabla ad-dar. Your neighbor before yourself. This little boy was seeing his mother practicing this, not just admonishing him, practicing herself in the middle of the night. Therefore, Imam Hassan, he puts his neighbor before himself. Her son, Imam Hussein, puts the nation before himself. It was easy for him to sacrifice. It was easy for him to give his baby, his oldest son, Ali al-Akbar, his youngest son, Abdullah, his companions, his children, himself. It was easy because he saw his mother doing the same. She was the source of inspiration. Her husband, Amir al-Mu'mineen, was the source of inspiration for his children. وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. I spoke about this the first night. It was a training for their kids. Otherwise, Imam Ali would say, this is, a couple of dirhams, go and get some food from McDonald's. But he said, no, I have to give my food because my kids is here. My kids are here, they are watching. I want to train them. This is a training for Ahlul Bayt, training. How do we encourage our children to be of benefit, benevolent to others? When you give, when they see the father is giving, generous, contributing, working, reaching out, they learn from you. They're going to learn generosity and kindness from their parents. And those who are stingy, when you investigate, you see either his father or his mother were stingy too. They did not learn them to offer, to give from day one. They kept telling them, keep this money for yourself, for the rainy day. Don't care about people. I always say when you send your son to the school and he comes back from school, your son or your daughter, oftentimes, what do we ask them when they come back from school? How did you do at school? Your homework? Did you get A, B, C, F? What did you get? We ask them about their academic accomplishment. But we never ask them, we tell them, did you help someone today at school? Did you share your meal with your colleague, with your friend who forgot to bring his meal to school? Did you comfort someone who was sad or depressed? Did you say something good to him? We don't say these things. We forget about them. Today I was speaking with the kids here at Saturday school. I said to them, when you come to Saturday school, it's true that you learn Arabic and Quran, and some of them said we learn about our imams and prayers and wudu. But most importantly, you learn akhlaq, manners. Because if you take akhlaq out of the system, out of the prayers, out of the fasting, out of the worshipping, it would render them zero, sub-zero. إنما بعثت لأتمم. This is my message, to integrate, to promote manners, to make people more human, period, more human. So this is number one. Number two, step number two, pursue openness and transparency in your relationship with your kids. Don't be ambiguous. Be very open. Be frank. Be candid. When you have a conversation, be candid. Be honest with your children. Teach them honesty. You have to initiate the conversation with them. Specifically when it comes to sensitive issues. Nowadays we have the gender issues, the gender relationship with the opposite sex. Social issues, social media, alcohol, drugs, whatever. Parents have to sit face to face with their kids and they have to discuss these things with them. Don't let them hear it from someone else. Don't let them go at the time of emergency, at the time of need. Don't let them go to a stranger who might misguide them, who might tell them the wrong things. You have to foster relationship. You have to foster strong relationship, strong friendship with your kids. I always say to my friends, I say, when you are asked who's the closest friend to you, you have to say my father, my mother. Those are the closest friend to me. But of course, you have to maintain the respect. Remove the barrier, but maintain the respect. Let your kids respect you, because it's dangerous. Sometimes we spoil them too much. Sometimes there is too much openness. There should be a level of respect. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, جرأة الولد على والده في صغره تدعو إلى العقوق في كبره. When you spoil them too much, the result, when they get adult, they are not going to respect you. It would lead into their audacity in their childhood, leads into what? An dutifulness when they are adult. They are not going to listen. They are not going to respect. So keep the respect. They have to know that you are a father, you are a mother. They must respect. But be a friend, be a close friend. Take them on a trip with you. Don't travel by yourself. I see some parents, they leave the family, they abandon them. They go, they enjoy their time by themselves. Don't do this. Unless it's necessary, unless it's a business trip. Otherwise, take your kids with you. You know what I hear the most when I come to London? What is the most word I hear it when I come to London? Can you guess? Can you guess? Try to guess. I'm a visitor here, so I come once in a while. The most term I hear when I come to London, depression, is depression. Where is Fulan? He's depressed. Where is Fulana? She's depressed. Where is someone? He's in the hospital. Where is the other one? He's on medication. Why? I know the weather is a factor, definitely, no doubt about it. This is why I invite you to come with me to California. But most importantly, the relationship in the family. When parents are absent. Kids, they need their parents. They need the love, the care, the attention, the conversation, the friendship, the guidance, the presence of the mother, of the father. Either both are busy or one of them is busy. This is a big mistake. You will pay the price tomorrow. Your sons are not going to be yours anymore. You lose this connection, you lose this friendship. Your kids are amana, trust. These are gifts given to you by God. Some of them, unfortunately, they contemplate on suicide. They have suicide thoughts because they don't have any person to open up to speak to. And if the father is absent, the mother is absent, where do they go to? Where? No one. So consider their mental health. Not just physical health, mental health too. Some of them, they develop anxiety, depression, confusion. Be there for them. You are the tabib. You are the cure. You are someone that they can confine in you. Take care of their mental health. Don't just desert your family and think about yourself. So be open. Sit with them. Today, we have critical issues in the society, but sometimes we shy away from them. We don't want to discuss it. In my opinion, the best solution is to sit with your family and have a conversation with all of them, even about gender issues, LGBT, whatever they hear at the school, they see in the street. Speak about it. Speak about it. Don't hide anything. In the family, they have to discuss everything, every issue, economic, social, mental, every issue, but with respect. And listen to your children. Sometimes we, the fathers, mashallah, we are good at speaking. We are talkative. We don't listen. Sometimes you have to listen. Just be silent and listen to your kids. Listen to their frustration. Listen to their fears. One of the things parents can do, can benefit their kids, is to remove, to disperse their fears. To face the fears. They say, psychologists, they say many of these types of fears are learned. They are not inherent. They are learned by the society. Like the fear of public speaking, the fear of failure, and many other types. So these things are learned. So it can be, with the help of parents, it can be unlearned and deconstructed. And this is your job. Teach them self-confidence. Teach them independence. You are not just a breadwinner. You are a teacher. You are a mentor. Some parents, I hear from confidential sources, they tell me some parents in the community are very abusive. They hurt their children. They hurt their daughters and their sons. Oftentimes, when we speak about the rights of parents, we always encourage the young generation, be kind, be dutiful to your parent. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. This, that. Don't disobey. But sometimes we have to remind the parents too. Don't be abusive to your kids. Don't hurt the feelings of your kids. Begin with your family. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, أفضل رجال أمتي, the best men in my community, the best men are those who do not, they love their families and they do not hurt them. They do not hurt their families. I personally know many parents, they are lost, and the reason is the father, not the social media. Because of the miscommunication. There is no trust between children and parents. Parents cannot dare to come and talk to their parents about any subject. He gets angry. He gets frustrated. You have to open channels of communication. When there is an emergency, your daughter rushes to you first. You are the first aid. You are the first refuge. She could come and talk to you with full confidence. With full confidence. When it comes to marriage, she has to share it with you. When she starts talking to someone thousands of miles away, she has to come and consult you. Give her the chance. Listen. Listen first. So this is the second element. Openness and transparency. The third element in raising kids is to empower and encourage them. In our culture, Middle Eastern culture, sometimes Islamic culture, we always reprimand and scold. We always rebuke. We always tell our children at the time of failure, there is no benefit out of you. You're going to be by haddak until the end of the time. This is what we tell them. And this is dangerous, my friends. Don't destroy your family. Be careful of what you say. Do not just reprimand. Making kids is very easy, but raising them is very challenging. Making kids, it takes 30 seconds, no more. But raising them, my friends, raising them is very challenging. It's a big responsibility. Watch out for what you say. The other day I had couples who came to the mosque and they were very beleaguered. The mother was very beleaguered, distressed. They said, our daughter at the age of 22, She left the home. Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. She left home. And can you help us to bring her back? They want me, who does not know their daughter. I don't even know the parents. Of course, I have to sympathize. It's just like a doctor, when you go to the doctor and tell him, I have pain, can you stop the pain immediately? You are beleaguered. I said, tell me, why did she leave the family? She said, we don't know. I said, you don't know? Nothing? All of a sudden, she woke up in the morning and she left? And your relationship is good, beautiful? The mother, she confessed. She said, no. No. My relationship is strained with my daughter. I always rebuke her and reprimand her. I said, so you know the answer then. Don't tell me I don't know. When you don't have good conversation with your kids, respectful conversation, when you don't encourage them, when you always rebuke them and criticize them, this is the result. They get fed up. Of course, they should not leave. They shouldn't. Kids should not leave their families. But sometimes they are left with no choice. So the mother was telling me, do you think there is hope that she's going to come back? I said, there is hope if you change yourself. If you change the way you talk to her. Yes, there is hope. But if you keep sending her text messages, threatening her, I read one of the text messages, threatening her with hellfire. She's running away and now she's chasing her and telling her you're going to be in hell. Of course she's not going to listen. Encouragement, my friends. Use encouragement at home. As I said the other night, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. God has given us the most beautiful gift. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. Bayan. Beautiful bayan. Beautiful, intelligent conversation. Use it with your kids at home. One day, al-Fadl, the nanny of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, she was carrying him. The Prophet came, took the baby from the nanny. Imam Hussein, a baby, few months old, did not control himself. He urinated. al-Fadl started to scream. She freaked out. Imam Hussein started to cry. When this lady is screaming, the baby is going to cry, of course. So the Prophet was upset. He said, Ya al-Fadl, be careful. Inna hadihi, I can clean this with water, but the scar you made in the heart of Hussein is not going to be removed. This is a damage. Sometimes the damage is permanent. Be careful. Sometimes we can wash things away with simple things. Don't make a big deal out of a small loss. You could recover. But when you damage someone emotionally, that damage is going to continue. It has repercussion. It has repercussion. So even when your daughter, when your son, they commit an error or they fail, it's not the end of the world. They can recover. There is nothing wrong in failing. But there is wrong when we don't learn from our failure. So the brothers are asking me to ask you, inshallah, to stand and step one step further. Take one step further. رحم الله من ذكر القائم من آل محمد. A second salawat. A third one with the loudest voice. Let's change our narrative at home. Let's change our style at home. From today, if I and you, we've done these things in the past, we hurt our kids, it's okay, my friends, to apologize to your son and your daughter. As you expect them to apologize to you, and they should, you can apologize to them. Change yourself. You're going to regret. Tomorrow you're going to regret. Keep them in the family. Keep them healthy. Keep them strong. Keep them on the right path. Build their character. Building the character is the most important element of success in the family. Building their moral character. How many of you have been to Spain? Maybe the vast majority of you. Southern Spain is called what? Southern part of Spain. Andalusia. Do you know Muslims were there, present there for how many years? Do you know? Do you know? Do you have an answer? 800 years. 800 years. 8 centuries. It was an Islamic state. Not ISIS, of course, no. Islamic country. When did they get out of Spain, Andalusia? When did they collapse? 1492. The same year America was discovered. Why Islam collapsed in Spain after 800 years? Why should it collapse? There is a reason. Because the children, the youth, the new generation, they lacked Islamic character, good character. Their character was meager, was poor. You know how they were defeated? Not by weapon, not by war. They collapsed. Because European countries, Christian countries around them, they decided that the best way to kick them out of southern Spain is to flood the market, flood the country, Andalusia, with 2 things, 2 elements. One of them women, girls, mostly from France and other European neighbors, and wine. That's the best weapon we use against their young ones, against their youth. They used these 2 weapons for a few years, only a few years. So they started exporting their young girls from Spain and other European countries to Andalusia, and they asked them to sleep with the young Muslim youth. Free of charge. قربة إلى الله تعالى. Free of charge. And then they flooded the market with the French wine too. The result, womanization and drink, the combination of the 2. The young youth, they did not have energy to fight. They didn't have any energy. They collapsed. And it was easy for the European to drive them out, to expel them out. Out! Get out! Build the character. Build the character of your young ones, of your son, your daughter. If you are worried about their future, their marriage, if you are worried when they travel for work, for school, build their character. Once you build their character, you don't have to monitor them. You don't have to spy on them. You don't have to follow where they go, where they come. You don't have. Because they have this self-immunity in their heart, in their soul, in their mind. You don't have to worry about them. Another story from China. Chinese, over 2,000 years ago, they built the Great Wall, which stretches almost 20,000 kilometers. It was built over a period of 300 years. They spent millions of their currency, their money. Many millions of people perished when they were building this Great Wall. Why did they build it? Because they wanted to protect China from the invaders. They decided to build this Great Wall to shield themselves against the aggression, against war. Do you know within the first 100 years of building this Great Wall, which was supposed to protect China, 3 times China was invaded by the enemies. 3 times. When they investigated, why? We built a wall, a huge wall. Have you seen it, some of you? When you go to China, you must go and see this wall. How come? Why we were invaded? We spent so much money, so much energy, human resources, money, time to protect ourselves. They found out that the invaders did not climb the wall. They came from the gate. How? They gave bribery to the soldiers, the gatekeepers. They bribed them with money and they easily came through. They penetrated the gates. So China was busy building the material wall and they forgot about building their youth, their character. This is again another theory in the Quran. God says to the Muslims during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إن يكن منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200. When you build the character, صابرون means they have a strong character. They have faith. They are heroes. They are connected to God. Women and wine and money and bribery is not going to change them. يغلبوا 200. When you have a strong character. Build the character of your son and your daughter. Work on them. Send them to good sessions like these. And I commend Al-Akbar Foundation. Their founders, their organizers, their donors, their volunteers, the participants, men and women who come here for these sessions. See, those are the 3 young people who traveled from Amsterdam just to come here. To learn. So you have to give thanks to your Lord. You have these sessions, you have many scholars in your midst. You have many institutions. The biggest number of Shia Islamic institutions in the whole Western Hemisphere is found in this city, in the city of London. How many institutions you have? Exceeding any other city in Europe or in North America. You have to give thanks. You have to activate them with the programs, with lively programs. The more we see people in these sessions, and the less we see them in cafes, in Edgeworth Road and other places, the safer we're going to feel, the stronger we're going to be. This is where we learn the manners, the adab, the akhlaq, the tradition, the spirit of Muhammad wa alu Muhammad alayhimus salam. Why As-Sayyidah Zahra salamullahi alayha was exceptional lady. The Prophet had other daughters. Did you ask yourself why she was his favorite? Did you ask? Ask yourself why she's the favorite daughter of the Prophet. The reason why she's favorite, because she detached herself from this dunya. She was not attached to the dunya. When she was not attached to the dunya, someone is singing here. Mullah Bujbara, take it easy, Habibi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. She disenfranchised herself from this dunya. And when she detached herself from the dunya, God made her to be attached to Him and to His apostle, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And thus, mu'mineen, my friends, my brothers, my sisters, the more we detach ourselves from dunya, the closer we get to God. God is going to compensate you. Why some people are obsessed with romance, with loving a female, loving a male, and that male does not care about them. He refuses them. He dumbs them. They keep running after him. This is an obsession. This is called obsession. Why some people are obsessed? You know why? The hadith says, قُلُوبٌ خَلَتْ مِنْ حُبِّ اللَّهِ فَابْتَلَاهَا اللَّهِ بِحُبِّ غَيْرِهِ. When you vacate your heart from attachment to God, from the remembrance of God, your heart is vacant, is empty. Then you're going to be obsessed with the love and attachment to a mean human being, not a kind human being who doesn't care about you. You run after him and he doesn't care about you. This is a punishment. لا تسعني أرضي وسمائي ولكن يسعني قلب عبدي المؤمن. No universe, no galaxy can contain God. Nothing can house God. You know where is his house? Your heart. قلب عبدي المؤمن. So, am I suggesting that we don't live in a mansion, we don't drive fast car, we don't eat good food, we don't go on a vacation? No, my friends. No. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that the mu'min, the good believer, the day that he has and the day that he doesn't have, are equal. So power, status, money, mansion, family, friends would not change him. They would not change him. The day he doesn't have, he lives in a one single bedroom, he's observant, he's faithful, he's kind, he's humble. And the day he lives in 10 Downing Street or the White House, he's the same person. He doesn't change. His akhlaq does not change. This is the mu'min. This is waliullah. This is waliullah. Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't say don't eat, don't drink, don't get dressed, don't. No. He says, do not let the dunya change you. And this is what he said to the dunya. Ya dunya ghurri ghayri. You are not changing me. You are not deceiving me. You are not deceiving. He was in power for 4 years and 8 months. At the last day of his life, he said, this is the dress. I came with this dress all the way from Medina. 4 years and 8 months. Same dress that he was wearing when he was a farmer in Medina. He was wearing it when he was Khalifa. Dunya did not change him. For us, people like me, dunya changes me. The day they tell me you are an MP, you are a minister of whatever, I don't return your salam. I come to London here and you greet me and I don't return your salam. I don't return because I am important. I am higher than you. Ya dunya ghurri ghayri. Dunya did not change Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Neither Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ahlul Bayt did not change. Because their grandfather said, ما لآل محمد والدنيا ما لآل محمد والدنيا فإنهم قد خلقوا للآخرة. They were programmed and designed not for this lower life, petty life. They were designed for the akhirah. They were looking up to the akhirah always. That was their final goal. Yes, in this life, وَابْتَغِي فِيمَا أَتَاكَ. Always remember this verse, always. In Surah Al-Qasas, chapter 28. Please, when you go home, please, my humble advice to you on my final night in London. Before you go to bed, take the Quran and reflect on a couple of verses, no more. So when you sleep, you think about them. Couple of verses, 2, 3, no more. But with reflection, you have to understand the translation. Reflect. One of them that you should reflect tonight, go to chapter 28, the stories, Surah Al-Qasas. وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ. But at the same time, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Seek in what God has given you, the intelligence, the influence. If you are an influencer, if you are important, if you are a father, if you are a mother, if you are a citizen, whatever you do, whether God has given you knowledge, intelligence, money, good relationship, respect, seek in that the hereafter. Invest for the hereafter. But at the same time, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Don't sleep in the street. Have a decent living. Take care of your family, your kids. Build their future for them, even the material future for them. Build it. Be dignified. If you generate more income, you're going to not just benefit yourself, you're going to benefit your society, your community, the poor, the needy, the refugees. You generate more money, you give more taxes, more zakat. This is a dignified life. وابتغ فيما آتاك الله الدار الآخرة ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا. She came to her father sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam during the end of his lifetime. Anytime she comes to her father, the father would stand and he would receive her with respect and honor. وَيُقْبِلُ عَلَيْهَا. Sometimes we speak to someone but we are not paying full attention. Her father would pay full attention to his daughter when she comes. One day she came, her father said, Habibati Fatima, my sweetheart, I need to tell you something important. So he whispered in her ears. She started crying. Immediately he said to her, let me tell you something else. Again he whispered in her ears. She started smiling. So Aisha was sitting there. She said, what did he say to you? She said, ما كنت لأفشي على رسول الله سره. I would never disclose the secret of the Prophet. But then after the death of the Prophet, she said when he whispered first time, he said, Fatima, I'm going to leave you soon. These are my final days. So I cried. And then the following sentence was, he whispered, he said, Fatima, أنت أول أهل بيتي لحوقا بي. No worries, you are not going to remain alone. You are the first member of my family who's going to join me. Some narrations, they say only 40 days after the departure of the Prophet, Fatima alayhi salam left. Some say 75, which is the first Fatemiyah that has just passed, the 13th of Jumad al-Awwal. Some people say 95 days, which is the second Fatemiyah, which is coming up, the first weekend of December, the 3rd of Jumad al-Thani. أنتِ أسرع أهل بيتي لحوقا بي. The fasted, so I smiled. She could not be separated from her father for a long time. This is the relationship of a father with his daughter, with his family. And therefore, when her death drew near, she said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, I want the kids to leave the house. I don't want them to listen to this conversation to my will. So she took Hassan and Hussein and Zainab and Kulthum. They went to the neighbor's home, and she remained only with her husband, loyal husband, Amir al-Mu'mineen, the faithful husband. She was sick, as I said yesterday, معصبة الراس ناحلة الجسم منهدة الركن. She was pale, frail, with a bandage on her head always because of the pain. So Amir al-Mu'mineen took her head, the head of Lady Fatima, in his lap. He embraced her. She said to him, يا ابن العم إذا قضيت نحبي فغسلني وكفني وحنطني بفاضل حنوط أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. The story of Hanut is also amazing. Hanut is the fragranced material which is added to the body of the deceased, made of camphor and amber and musk. The Prophet, before his death, he brought this Hanut. He said, part of it for you, Ya Ali, part of it for you, Ya Fatima, another portion for Hassan. But he said, Hussein, you don't need Hanut. Your Hanut is the sand dune of Karbala. He left him without Hanut. حنوطك تراب كربلاء. فغسلني وكفني وحنطني بفاضل حنوط أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصل عليه.
وليصلي علي معك الأولى فالأولى من أهل بيتي. I want you yourself, Ali, don't leave me, please. You are the one who's going to wash my body and shroud my body and apply the hanut to my body and pray on my body and take me to my final resting place. ولا تشهد جنازتي أحدا من هؤلاء الذين حاربوني وظلموني ولا من أتباعهم وأشياعهم فإنهم عدوي وعدو الله. I have another request, Ya Abul Hassan. Those people who hurt me and abused me, do not allow them to come to my funeral, for they are the enemies of the truth, the enemies of God, the enemies of me. Another request, Ya Abul Hassan. يا ابن العام وادفني بالليل إذا نامت العيون وهجعت الأبصار. And bury me during the dark when people are asleep. وعف موضع قبري. And then do not make my burial site secret. I don't want people to know about my grave. I want the concealment of my grave to be a testimony against them. They wronged me, they abused me. يا ابن العم وتعهد قبري بقراءة القرآن فإن الميت يأنس إذا حضر عنده أهله. إذا حضر عنده أهله. And then frequently, if it is not too much for me, come to my graveside. Sit there, visit my grave. Sit there, commit yourself to Quranic recitation. The deceased is going to be delighted when his family gather around his or her grave. يا ابن العم وتزوج من بعدي ابنة أختي أمام تكون لولدي مثلي. And I have another request. My niece Amama was so kind. She's so kind to my children, the 4 children. They are attached to her. They love her. If you don't mind, Ya Abul Hassan, if you marry her, they need a compassionate caretaker mother. فإنهما يصبحان من بعدي يتيمين غريبين منكسرين. After me, they're going to taste the orphanage. They're going to be true orphans. بالأمس فقدا جدهما واليوم يفقدان أمهما. A few days ago, they lost their sweet grandfather who loved them so much. Today they're going to lose their mother. ونعشي يا ابن عمي منتشي إلى نص الليل ريد يصير شيله وعلي تراب قبري منتهي إلى القبر لا تخلي رسم يظهر. And this is what happened. Imam Ali was in the mosque with Hassan and Hussein. All of a sudden, the news came to him that Fatima passed away. He started running towards the house, crying, "Wa Fatimata, wa ghurbatah min ba'dik." Hassan and Hussein came into the house. They wanted to go into the room to see their mother. Fidda was sitting there, or Asma was sitting there. She did not allow them to go. She said to them, "Let your mother enjoy her sleep. Come and eat your dinner." They said to her, "Ya Asma, mata ra'aytina na'kulu min duni ummina Fatima." We always eat with her. We cannot eat by ourselves. So they went into the room. Imam Hassan sat next to her head. Imam Hussein sat next to her feet. Imam Hassan said to her, "Ummah, kallimini قبل أن ينصدع قلبي أو تنشق مرارتي فأموت." Before my heart burst, please talk to me. And Hussein said to her, "Ummah, kallimini فأنا ولدك الحسين." I am your sweetheart Hussein, Mama. Please talk to me, mother. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen came after that. They threw themselves on their mother's body. Amir al-Mu'mineen heard the voice saying, Ya Aba al-Hasan, irfa'huma falaqad wallahi abkaya mala'ikat as-samawat. Amir al-Mu'mineen, take them out. Take them out, because they are weeping. The angels are weeping for Fatima and for them. يا قلب ذوب وهلي دمعي على الماتة وتصرخ يا ضلعي. Amir al-Mu'mineen tended to her. He washed her, he shrouded her. Then the time when he was washing her body, he started crying. Fidda said to him, why do you cry loud, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen? He said to her, Fidda, أغسل فاطمة وأجد ضلعها مكسور. I am washing her body and I find the broken rib. Inna lillah. من ضرب العصا ما ضل حال لها ولا ضل حيل. من ضرب العصا ما ضل حال لها ولا ضل حيل. لما ماتت بغصتها يا ويلي ولا يفيد الويل. غسلها علي بيده كفنها ودفنها بليل. وظل بس يجذب الحسرة وبس يتلهف عليها. The city of Medina was convulsed with tears, with pain, with sorrow. The entire population, men and women, they gathered at the house of Ali and Fatima. Abu Dhar al-Ghifari came out. He said, أيها الناس لقد تأجل تشييع فاطمة تجهيز فاطمة. You can go home now. It has been postponed. The funeral has been postponed. And when the night fell, Amir al-Mu'mineen carried the coffin. Ya Mu'mineen, with only 7 people, only 7. Can you imagine? Only 7 loyal people, the companions of the Prophet, Salman al-Muhammadi, Abu Dhar al-Ghifari, Ammar ibn Yasir, Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, Al-Abbas ibn Abd al-Muttalib, Ammar, Miqdad. Those are the people who were remained. So they carried her coffin with Amir al-Mu'mineen and Hassan and Hussein. They came to her grave. They put her at the grave. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen turns to them. He says, Ya Aba Dhar, khudh biyad al-Hasan wal-Husayn wa'ud bihima ila ad-dar. Take Hassan and Hussein. I don't want them to experience this. This is very traumatic for them. And then he turned to the rest of his disciples. He says, Irji'u la hajata li bi baqa'ikum. You may go now. Ajarakum Allah ya mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen carried the body of Fatima, the frail body of Fatima, to her grave. He puts her in her grave. صد وضاقت بعين الوسيعة ونادى يا رسول الله الوديعة. ونادى يا رسول الله الوديعة. ردت ليك والمهلة سريعة. He puts her in her grave and then he turns to the shrine of the Prophet. السلام عليك يا رسول الله عني وعن ابنتك النازلة في جوارك والسريعة اللحاق بك. I greet you, O the Messenger of God, on my behalf, on behalf of your daughter who hastened to join you, who came next to you. قل يا رسول الله عن صفيتك صبري. My patience has been exhausted. My power of endurance is weakened. يا رسول الله أما حزني فسرمد وأما ليلي فمسهد. As to my pain and my sorrow, it's endless. As to my sleep and my nights, they are sleepless. But Ya Rasulullah, I have one request. When you see Fatima and meet her, please ask her, press her, فأحفها السؤال. Please ask her, واستخبرها الحال. فكم من غليل معتلج في صدرها لم تجد إلى بثه سبيلا. How much suffering she carries in her heart. She could not even share it or say it to anyone. يا رسول الله أرى علل الدنيا علي كثيرة وصاحبها حتى الممات عليل لكل اجتماع من خليلين فرقة وكل الذي دون الفراق قليل وإن افتقادي فاطما بعد أحمد دليل على أن لا يدوم خليل نسألك اللهم وندعوك. Raise your hand please with these tears in your eyes, with the broken hearts, with this tawajjuh that you have tonight, and let's ask Allah for the sake of the closest people to Him, the dearest people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bi Muhammadin wa Aliyin wa Fatima wal Hassan wal Hussein. Ya Allah, اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم اجعل كلمة الإسلام هي العليا وكلمة أعداء الله وأعداء الدين هي السفلى. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا فنتبعه والباطل باطلا فنجتنبه. اللهم أمتنا على ولاية أمير المؤمنين. Oh Allah, our last breath of this life, allow us, give us this opportunity to leave this life by saying أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله وأشهد أن عليا ولي الله. Oh Allah, do not deprive us from the wilayah, from the fellowship of Muhammadin wa Ali Muhammad alayhim assalam. Oh Allah, give victory to our brothers and sisters in Lebanon, in Palestine, and other places, all those who have been wronged and oppressed. Oh Allah, send your victory upon them. Oh Allah, accept this humble deed, this session, this tawassul, this dua, the presence of good brothers and sisters, the founders of this majlis. Oh Allah, bestow success and happiness and tawfiq on them, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. وإلى روح زعيم الحوزة العلمية آية الله المرجع الأعلى آية الله العظمى السيد أبي القاسم الخوئي، وإلى روح سماحة آية الله السيد فاضل حسين الميلاني، وإلى أرواح شهداء المؤمنين والمؤمنات، وإلى أرواح أمواتكم جميعا. عجل الله تعالى في فرج سيدنا ومولانا صاحب العصر والزمان، إلى أرواحهم جميعا ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.